Belvelly Castle, Cork, the true horror history of the Faceless Lady Margaret. The ancient stones of Belvelly Castle have stood silently for more than 6 centuries, overlooking the narrow waters that separate Great Island from the mainland in County Cork, Ireland. Travellers crossing the old route toward Cove often notice the lonely grey tower rising against the Irish sky, seemingly peaceful beneath drifting clouds. Yet, as darkness settles over Cork Harbour, the castle transforms into something far older than history itself. Local whispers tell of strange footsteps echoing through abandoned halls, icy winds blowing where no windows remain open, and a ghost unlike any other in Ireland, a silent woman whose face has completely vanished. She is known only as Lady Margaret, the Faceless Lady of Belvelly Castle. Many castles across Ireland claim to have ghosts, but Belvelly's legend carries a different weight. It is not merely a tale designed to frighten tourists. For generations, fishermen, caretakers, historians, and curious visitors have spoken of an eerie female apparition wandering the ruined tower. They describe seeing a noblewoman dressed in faded medieval clothing standing near the highest windows. She never speaks. She never cries. She simply watches. Those who dare to look closely discover the horrifying truth: where her face should be, there is only darkness, as though time itself erased every trace of her identity. The origins of Belvelly Castle stretch back to the early 15th century when it was built by the Anglo-Norman Barrett family. Positioned at one of the most strategic crossings into Great Island, the castle guarded an important route leading toward the bustling harbour that would later become famous around the world. Thick limestone walls, narrow arrow slits, winding staircases, and heavy oak doors made Belvelly an imposing fortress. During Ireland's turbulent medieval years, the castle witnessed feuds between powerful families, political betrayals, sieges, famine, and disease. Every generation left behind stories stained with blood and sorrow. Among these stories, none is remembered more vividly than that of Lady Margaret. Historical records mention several noblewomen connected to the castle through marriage, inheritance, and political alliances, though documentation from the medieval period remains incomplete. Over centuries, oral tradition merged historical fragments with local folklore, creating the enduring legend of Lady Margaret. According to the oldest versions of the tale, she was a young noblewoman renowned throughout Cork for her extraordinary beauty. Her long black hair, pale complexion, and graceful manner made her the admiration of many wealthy families. Songs were supposedly written about her elegance, and traveling merchants carried stories of her beauty across Munster. Yet beauty often becomes both blessing and curse. Margaret was promised in marriage to a powerful landowner whose wealth would strengthen the family's influence around Cork Harbour. The marriage was political rather than romantic, a common practice among noble families of medieval Ireland. However, local tradition claims Margaret's heart already belonged to another man, a young knight who had served within the castle walls. Unlike the nobleman competing for her hand, he possessed little wealth but great courage. Their secret meetings allegedly took place atop Belvelly Castle's highest chamber. Beneath moonlit skies they dreamed of escaping together, leaving behind arranged marriages and endless family obligations. They believed love could overcome politics. They were tragically mistaken. One stormy evening, Margaret's father reportedly discovered the forbidden relationship. Furious that his daughter's actions threatened the family's honor and political alliances, he ordered the young knight arrested. Some versions claim the knight was imprisoned beneath the castle before disappearing forever. Others say he was executed outside the walls at dawn, his body never returned to his family. No official documents survive confirming either account, but the disappearance itself became part of local legend. Margaret was confined inside the castle. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. She was forbidden from leaving her chamber, forbidden from speaking to servants, forbidden even from looking toward the harbour where she had once hoped to flee with her lover. The cheerful young woman slowly disappeared behind locked wooden doors. Servants later claimed they heard crying every night. The sound echoed through stone corridors until sunrise. Then, one winter morning, silence fell. When the chamber door was finally opened, Margaret had vanished. No one found a body. No secret tunnel revealed an escape. No horse had left the castle. She had simply disappeared. Some believed she escaped into the surrounding forests. Others believed she threw herself from the highest tower into the rocks below. Still others whispered something far darker. According to local folklore, Margaret never truly died. Instead, overwhelming grief stripped away not only her life but her very identity. The immense sorrow erased every memory of who she had been. Her face, the symbol of her beauty and individuality, faded into nothingness. She became a spirit with no features because the world itself had forgotten the woman behind the tragedy. Centuries passed. The Barrett family eventually lost influence. New owners arrived. Wars reshaped Ireland. Belvelly Castle gradually fell into decline. Yet reports of the mysterious woman never ceased. One of the earliest ghost stories associated with the castle tells of laborers repairing damaged stone walls during the 18th century. As evening approached, one worker noticed a woman standing silently inside an upper window. Assuming someone had become trapped inside the abandoned structure, he climbed the staircase to help her. The room was empty. Confused, he searched every floor. No footprints appeared in the dust. Returning outside, he glanced upward once more. The woman still stood at the window. Only now he realized something impossible. She had no face. Terrified, the workers abandoned the restoration for several days. Similar encounters continued throughout the 19th century. Travelers crossing toward Great Island occasionally reported seeing a pale woman watching from the tower before suddenly disappearing as clouds covered the moon. Fishermen navigating nearby waters sometimes noticed a white figure standing atop the battlements during heavy fog. When daylight returned, the battlements stood completely empty. Even more unsettling are stories involving the castle's interior. Visitors have described hearing soft footsteps descending spiral staircases despite exploring alone. Others speak of doors that seem to close gently without wind. Some report an overwhelming sadness filling certain rooms, accompanied by an intense sensation of being watched. Several paranormal investigators who have examined Belvelly Castle describe unusual drops in temperature around upper chambers where Lady Margaret is most frequently reported. Electronic equipment has occasionally malfunctioned without obvious explanation, though such occurrences remain anecdotal rather than scientifically verified. One particularly chilling local account concerns a photographer visiting the castle shortly before sunset. Fascinated by medieval architecture, he spent hours capturing images of the weathered stonework. Reviewing the photographs later that evening, he discovered one image unlike the others. Standing inside an empty window was a woman wearing what appeared to be medieval clothing. The figure had shoulders, hair, hands resting upon the windowsill. But where her face should have been, there was only darkness. No eyes. No nose. No mouth. Only an impossible black void. Believing it to be a photographic defect, he returned the following week to recreate the same shot. The mysterious figure never appeared again. Stories like these have transformed Belvelly Castle into one of Cork's lesser-known paranormal landmarks. Unlike famous castles filled with dramatic tourist attractions, Belvelly retains an atmosphere of quiet isolation. Its loneliness perhaps makes the legend even more convincing. Visitors often remark that the silence surrounding the tower feels strangely unnatural, broken only by distant seabirds and the movement of tidal waters beneath grey skies. Folklore surrounding Lady Margaret contains another disturbing detail rarely mentioned outside County Cork. Witnesses who reportedly encounter the faceless woman rarely experience immediate fear. Instead, they first feel overwhelming sadness. An emotion so powerful that some begin crying without understanding why. Only after several moments do they notice her missing face. Only then does terror replace sorrow. Some storytellers believe Margaret's ghost relives her heartbreak endlessly, forcing those nearby to share the despair that erased her identity centuries ago. Others believe the faceless appearance carries symbolic meaning rather than literal horror. In medieval Ireland, one's face represented honor, family, and social standing. Margaret lost all three. Her arranged marriage destroyed her freedom. Her lover vanished. Her family imprisoned her. History forgot her true story. Thus her ghost appears without a face because no one remains who remembers the woman she truly was. Whether symbolic or supernatural, the legend continues to captivate everyone who hears it.
Ancient stones hold ancient secrets.
Today, Belvelly Castle remains a striking reminder of Ireland's medieval past.
To the horrors of the
Restoration
past.
efforts have helped preserve portions of the historic structure, but much of its ancient atmosphere remains untouched.
No!
Visitors
Please,
arriving during
spare his
daylight
life!
admire its impressive architecture and strategic location overlooking Cork Harbour. Few remain after sunset. As evening mist rises from the water and shadows climb the weathered walls, locals say the castle awakens.
Ancient stones hold ancient secrets.
Some claim soft footsteps
Belvelly
begin
Castle
echoing
stands
once more.
as a silent witness.
Others report seeing movement
the horrors
inside
of the
windows where no
past.
lights should exist.
Seize him!
Occasionally, drivers crossing nearby roads glance toward the old tower and notice a pale
Please,
woman
spare his
standing
life!
motionless above them. She never waves. She never calls for help. She simply watches. If curiosity overcomes fear and someone dares to stare back long enough, they discover why generations have feared Belvelly Castle. There is no expression waiting in the darkness. No sorrow. No anger. No smile. Because Lady Margaret has no face. Only endless emptiness where history erased a broken soul. To this day, no definitive historical evidence confirms every detail of Lady Margaret's story. Like many Irish ghost legends, the tale blends documented medieval history, local oral tradition, and generations of reported paranormal experiences. Whether one believes the Faceless Lady is a restless spirit or simply one of Ireland's most enduring folklore traditions, Belvelly Castle continues to inspire unease among those who visit its ancient walls. And perhaps that is the greatest mystery of all. Long after noble families disappeared, long after medieval wars faded into history, and long after the names of kings were forgotten, one silent figure still waits in the highest window overlooking Cork Harbour. Watching. Waiting. Faceless.
Seize
Forever.
him!